first of all, before I introduce our speakers, I would just like to go through and introduce the channel. So could we play the video trail, please?
Alles klar, Brudi.
RTL2 ist wie das Leben.
In meinem Life ohne Filter, ey, ist alles live.
Mal laut.
Und ich brauche jetzt 2 Wochen Urlaub.
Mal leise. Mal ernst.
Ich lebe von 300-400 Euro im Monat.
Das reicht nicht wirklich, ne?
Mal verrückt.
Eigentlich könnte ich alle bei meiner Mutter bedanken oder beschweren.
Mal Party. Und mal Couch Potato.
Hochmotiviert im Nichtstun.
Schieß mal 2.
Gut, dass du dich hier nicht entscheiden musst.
Schieß mal 2. Oh, das geht schief. Wenn ich eins gelernt habe, mach dein Ding und lass die Leute reden.
Filter. Wozu wissen, wer du bist, wichtig ist. Und egal wer du bist genauso wie es richtig ist.
Check.
Sieh's mal 2. Der Gegensatz von Einheitsbrei, 1 und 1 zusammenzählen und eine starke Einheit sein.
In meinem Life ohne Filter, ey, ist alles live und nicht auf.
Unsere Welt ist bunt.
Ist es gleich und nicht später, ey.
Und wir lieben es.
Wir sehen so gut aus.
Gleich und nicht später,
Sieh's mal anders.
live ohne.
Sieh's mal 2.
Fantastic overview there of RTL as a channel. So we're joined now by Pia Emder, Konstantin Vormald, and Jan Homeyer, along with our CEO here at Edison 365, who is called Ivan Lloyd. So hello, everybody, and good morning.
Hey.
Good
How are we
morning.
all doing this morning?
Good morning. Very good,
That
thanks.
is a very exciting bit of content, and I'm sure that some of our audience participants here will recognize some of that content, but it makes me want to go watch television rather than be at work today. So I think that's a really good start to my morning. So thank you very much for that. So do you want to just introduce yourselves? Pia, why don't we start with you?
Yes, of course. My name is Pia. I'm project manager at RTLZWEI. So I have many typical doings as a project manager, like supporting project groups, monitoring project groups. I also do workshop facilitation, which means I help teams to prepare workshops and to do successful workshops. And I also do like trainings on project management methods, on agile project management methods. So it's all about working together in the best possible way. I think that's mainly what I do.
Okay. And Konstantin, tell us what a business development manager does at RTL2.
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. Yeah, I'm Konstantin, working for RTL Tools for 5 years already. In the business development team, I'm responsible to implement new business models regarding, especially regarding digital and D2C, direct-to-consumer business models. We have our own online shop, which integrates products into shows. It's called Einzigartig. Yeah, we focus on lifestyle accessories and personalization. And secondly, we do like startup corporations. It's called Media for Equity. We invest in upcoming scalable new businesses around, especially in Germany. Focus on e-commerce and digitalization. So yeah, it's pretty interesting what we are doing so far. And yeah, that's from my side.
And Jan, you have the most impressive title of all of us, I think. Senior Conceptioner. What does that mean?
Is that a thing in the UK? I don't know.
I did Google this. I did Google this before the call, and yes, it is. Believe it or not, it is. But for those people that don't know, what's the Senior Conceptioner do?
So I have to say, before I started the job, I didn't know what a conceptioner was. But when I got into the job, I got to know that a conceptioner is, like the name says, he is basically he makes concepts for business partners. You know, when we have some campaigns that we want to get partners in, we make these concepts and we present them to them, and hope that they are interested in the you know.
Okay, so this is kind of like a creative role and also maybe sort of development of of concepts that you can kind of sell through Alcatel Media, and I think that's really good. And obviously you're joined by Ivan as well, who is the CEO of Edison 365. So Ivan, do you want to just talk about how you spend your day, just to be fair, so that everyone knows?
Yeah, so CEO of Edison. I've been with the company since it was founded. My days, well, it's very varied. I guess the title says it all in that I'm spending my time working with customers, understanding problems, looking at the direction of travel for Edison, and ensuring that we stay ahead of our customers' needs.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So one thing I wanted to sort of explain, because obviously there's Jan and also Konstantin, you both work, I guess, across both brands, is that right? Judging by the sort of the bios that I saw. So can you explain the relationship between Alcatel and RTLZWEI for people who don't know?
So RTLZWEI is the TV station, right? And Alcatel is like the marketer of RTLZWEI. And in Germany, for legal issues, they have to be two separate like companies, but we sit under one roof and we are one big family. So there's not a lot of barriers between Alcatel and RTL2. Yeah. So
yeah, it's a complete subsidiary. I think you have like around 40 employees, right, Jan, aren't you?
Yeah, 40 to 50, I guess. Depends.
Alcatel, yeah, and RTLZWEI has around 200 employees, but it's one company, and I have projects at RTLZWEI and at Alcatel, so we are one big family, like Jan said.
Yeah, I work for RTLZWEI too.
As you know, we are a TV channel, and maybe I don't know how much TV you watch, but we have kind of a challenge right now because we have many video-on-demand platforms like Netflix, for example. I think you know Netflix, and you can watch TV on the internet, and you don't really have to sit in front of the TV and watch the typical standard TV. So we have this challenge, and we still want to stay within the market. So we have to create some innovation to solve this problem and to work against that. And we need new business models. We need new ideas on how to work with this situation. So I think that is the main problem we have, and that's what we want to solve with innovation.
So that was your sort of big challenge. What was the kind of thought process you went through to, okay, we know we've got this challenge, we've got a very competitive landscape. How are we going to solve that problem? What were your thoughts there?
I think the main issue was that, or a good thing was that we have, or is that we have a lot of like innovative people, creative people coming together, but we didn't have a platform or a channel to, funnel all these things. Because we have a restaurant on premise, and we got together, had lunch. So many ideas were spread, but no ideas were like catched and developed. And then we got into thinking, what do we have to do to develop ideas?
So I guess what you're saying is that these are sort of like foundries. These are like places where ideas are bubbling all the time, and people are having great conversations. But the challenge is that you're not able to put them anywhere, so they get lost in the ether, perhaps.
Yeah.
So, what did you previously do to kind of capture these concepts? Then, did you have any kind of approach at all? Did you have like suggestion boxes? What did you do?
Yeah.
We had super basic.
Yeah.
Super basic. We had these little boxes in the hall where you could put your little ideas in, and people would filter them, and then I don't even know what happened to those ideas actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I can also speak for our online shop. We always asked like some employees regarding new ideas, new products, but it was intense. It was manual labor intensive. We had to go to all of their rooms and ask them, and it was not a transparent approach. We didn't get all of the 200 employees at one glance. We had to talk to each and every individual. And secondly, there was no progress how to really get the information and have it for each and every person in the whole room. It was more like, I have the information, I have to tell it to somebody else, and then this and that, and this. It's like really individual and not an entire transparent approach from like the intern to the CEO, and everybody can now put into information into the Edison.
When did you start to sort of think, okay, we need to solve this problem? And what was the kind of the thing that pushed you over the edge in terms of, yeah, we need a platform for this?
We had those like project groups that came from like top down when our chiefs, I don't know the word, they initiated these groups. There were 7 groups with different themes, and there was a group that said like just do it. You know, the theme of the group was just do it. And why don't we just do things? And out of this group, out of this discussion, came this approach, having a platform for just putting ideas out, you know. And then we got into research, and research took us about 2 years, I guess.
Wow.
Testing different platforms, approaches, and having discussions over like budget and technical issues. And yeah, after 2 years, we stumbled upon you guys.
Well, maybe I can add something. I think why it took us so long is because it was really a bottom-up approach. So of course, we had the management, they supported us, but at the time we started with this project, we haven't had any innovation department within our company. We have one now, it came during the project, but we haven't had one when we started. So it was just a few people. I don't know how many you were when you started. I wasn't there from the beginning. I just joined after, I think, a year or something. And then it's just basically Konstantin, Jan, and me. And we were doing this while we were doing all the other things we were doing every day. So yeah, it took us quite long, but it came out really great. So I think it's not that bad that it was 2 years.
I mean, I can also elaborate on that. Maybe a short sentence is that we also had like several testing phases during the launch, and so we saw like if there's any traction or there's any need in regards to information and ideas, and we tested it for several periods, and then we saw, hey, really, wow, there's so many ideas coming to this platform, and there's so many ideas in the head, and when we share with each other, it's so helpful, and that's why we proceeded with the initial phase, and that's why also it took so long.
Can you help us understand the sort of the thought process and how you got from sort of, okay, we need a platform to our platform?
Yeah, so we had some requirements, of course, on the solution that we wanted to see in the solution, and there were maybe like 4 main requirements we had. One of them was, of course, that it is a platform that focuses on transparency, and that is not only a idea management platform, but also a collaboration platform. So we really wanted our colleagues to be able to interact with the ideas, to comment on the ideas, to like the ideas, and all of that stuff. So it was really important for us that it's not just an idea management tool. And well, of course, a huge point was usability. I think it's always a huge point because you want a user-friendly solution. We want the people to have fun when they work with the platform and to be self-motivated, and that we don't have to tell them every day that they have to go to the platform but they don't really want because they don't like it. So we wanted a user-friendly platform. We wanted a nice design, and like the last wish that came from the IT department made it really hard for us to find the perfect platform, because the IT department had the wish that the platform is based on SharePoint. Because we already use Microsoft 365 a lot in the company, and the plan of the IT is to intensify the usage of SharePoint. And they thought that when we have this new platform that also bases on SharePoint, we have this first step already taken to intensify SharePoint in the company. And while with these requirements, we went to the internet and were searching for platforms, and I think almost every solution we found that was based on SharePoint had a really bad usability, really bad design. It looked really old, and it was just not fun to work with. And I think Edison 365 was the only platform we found that had a nice design, that was young, and that made fun to work with. So where we stumbled across Edison when we were looking for idea management platforms that are based on SharePoint and within the Microsoft Cosmos.
I love that, Microsoft Cosmos. We know it's an ecosystem, but I like Cosmos better, actually. That's a really cool way of saying it. We're part of the Microsoft universe. No, the Cosmos. I think that's a really nice point, though, isn't it, right? Because I think the world is Microsoft, right? And I think the other point you mentioned that's really important, actually, especially for a brand like yours that you're on, I'm assuming, is the funkiness of it, right? The fact that it's a cool platform to use.
Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
you've got, I'm imagining, quite a few millennials and younger people working for your organization who don't want to be bored or, uninspired by a platform that looks like it came from the 1990s. So that's going to really help with the adoption, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. They have a short adoption, like attention scale, and they wanna go on the platform. They wanna know how it works instantly, and they just want to have fun with it, right? I speak for myself here, so.
And here it is. So I think what I'd like to do is show the next screen, because that gives a really good overview of it. So, it's branded with your corporate identity, and it just looks like a place that you'd like to go spend some time. So speaking of that, let's talk about the adoption. What's been the kind of initial reactions to those millennials and the cool people working in a TV brand to the platform? How have they found it?
Yeah, I mean, I can elaborate on that. I mean, we had to start the platform, we had like a virtual live event with all the employees from the company, like 250 people. And yeah, it was a live event for 1 hour, and then we released the platform and everybody was on board. And so they really liked it in the beginning because it was visually appealing. The UX was cool. It was easy to start with. There was no like, it's difficult to start on it. We also offer like certain like onboarding workshops for people if they have any further questions on that. And what was really the beginning was important, like to get traction on the platform. We had a Christmas in home office challenge, which helped like to grasp a lot of ideas for the platform. And then we had a collaboration with like a partner, and it was a charity actually, and through with the other 3D Nation. So we sponsored 3 for every idea. There was like 5 trees sponsored, and so we got platform. So that was a cool idea. We gathered like 200 trees and at the end. So for the short challenge, it was really a good result at the end. And yeah, that was just the first step. And then the second step was also like the platform itself is like the ecosystem, as we call it maybe, and then we extended it with other ideas. And the other idea is more like that we have an overview of all the projects at RTL2 which are in further stage, further than the ideation stage, which is like the Edison 365 now, and like all ideas which are like already in implementation are also integrated in the platform, so everybody in the whole company can see which ideas we have in RTL2. And so yeah, it's like an ecosystem which is pretty helpful for everybody. So yeah, people like it and use it a lot.
Just maybe pick a couple of the sort of the topic areas where you've launched challenges, just to give us an idea.
Yeah, well, when we started with the platform, it was very important for us that when a person goes to the platform and has one idea, there's always a place and always a challenge where the idea can fit into. So we have quite a number of challenges that don't have an expiration date, that don't expire, that are there all the time. And these challenges are part of our strategy in the company. So we have, for example, a challenge about new business models. As I said in the beginning, we have a challenge about sustainability. Sustainability is quite a huge topic at the moment within our company. We have something a challenge on, of course, new TV show ideas. that is there all the time. And I think these 3 are the main ones, but we also have like 3 other ones. I think it's 6 in total, that challenges that are there every day and all the time. And we also have some challenges that are there that have an expiration date. And we had, I think, 3 or 4 of them already, where we could collect a lot of ideas.
And how does it work in terms of positioning challenges? Do you agree all the challenges up front, or can people add their own challenges, or is it just at the idea level that people can add their own ideas?
Everyone can add a challenge. That is really, really important for us. So when, of course, they can speak to us first, or they can speak to their manager first, because maybe some people think it's quite a big thing to have a challenge, but we already had some challenges that came from the normal employees, let's say, and not from the management. And it is really important for us that everyone who has a problem can open a challenge and collect ideas or solutions for that problem.
In general, like, people are in home office right now, so there's not a lot of talking in teams right now. So this, in general, pretty helpful right now to have like a digital tool to collect all the information and ideas. But in general, I would say honestly, it's like a transformation phase. You have to make people get used to the platform, make it as their first touch point for ideas, and implement it in their heads. Like, yeah, we have a platform, we need ideas. We are like in the TV industry, which needs ideas from all these creative minds in our company. So yeah, it's a transformation phase, and we always put up new ideas, new challenges, and we ask everybody if they have like good challenges, then they should also post it and grasp ideas. And so far we have seen great ideas and challenges. So it's a good process so far.
I guess it would have been really difficult to maintain any kind of innovation process remotely with everyone working from home and do it in a kind of a meaningful fashion. So I suppose in an odd way, the timing of this was really lucky, I suppose, because you already had this in plan. What's been the kind of the interplay and the collaboration while you're working remotely, and how has that kind of been supported by the tool, do you think?
I think we really motivate people to use the comment function in the tool, that when they see an idea and they have another idea on this idea, they comment it and they like kind of start a discussion on it, and it works quite well. So we have many comments under many ideas, and we have every challenge has one challenge owner, and that is one person that has something to do with the topic. And for example, I am the challenge owner of the sustainability challenge in Edison, and I regularly look at the ideas, I look at the comments, and when I see, okay, there are like 5 people regularly commenting on the idea, I try to motivate them. Why don't you just set up a meeting? Why don't you talk about it? Why don't you make the first move, the first step? So we really try to help and to facilitate a bit. And yeah, it's a bit hard because they can't talk to each other in real life. And we also had in mind that we wanted to make an event like every 3 months or every 2 months, where we show the people at the best rated ideas, and also the ideas that were very good from the rating but that haven't had any comments, and that were not many people who wanted to work on this idea. And then we wanted to try to like sell the idea to the people, but it's not really possible right now. So we thinking of an option where we can do it online. But yeah, I think the main part of us 3, Jan, Konstantin and me, is to really help facilitate the people and to get to work with the ideas and get them going. Because from the management, we don't have like a group of people that decide on which ideas do we want to implement or which ideas are good ideas. We really want to make this bottom up as well, and to let the employees decide which one is a good idea, with the rating, for example, and with the comments.
Okay, so that's a very democratic approach, and we talk a lot about how this platform can democratize idea generation and even sort of the management of ideas through the whole process. So it's really interesting you say that.
When we started with this project, we haven't had any innovation department, but that came when we were on our way, and they really loved the platform. So when the department was created, we thought maybe we just have to give this project to them and not own it anymore. But they said, no, we don't want to own it. It's your project. We support you completely, but it's your project, and we could do everything we wanted, and the design is from Jan, and the features we wanted were from our ideas. So they love it now, but they gave us completely autonomy to do whatever we want.
So what happens next? Let's take an idea through the journey. So, I mean, obviously you guys, it's still pretty early days for you guys with the tool and the process and things. So, you know, you're learning as you go, but I'm quite interested to know to sort of what typically would happen. So a challenge gets posted, an idea, you see it, there's a group of people, it sounded like hopefully that comment on an idea, so you know there's a level of engagement with that idea, then you get in touch with those people to see if they want to form a kind of I suppose like a working party, right, around that idea to develop it further. What kind of happens next, or is there sort of, does it vary by idea and approach?
I think it varies by idea, but the basis of this is, like you described, is people getting together, like having at least 5 people, depends on how big the idea or the development process is. Having 5 people that on their own form these groups, like come together, and we don't have to like push them. I think in the beginning this is pretty normal, but I hope and think that someday this will go like automatically. And yeah, when those people come together, they develop the idea, and then if it's a successful idea and a pretty cool thing, then yeah, it's going into development, I guess.
I think when it's a kind of a big idea, like a new business model, there is a time when you have to go to the management and pitch your idea, because you might need a lot of money to really do the implementation of that. But smaller ideas, I think we can just get them going and see what happens, or super small ideas where it's just, I can do that. We just say, yeah, okay, go do it. Why not? So yeah, it depends on how big the idea is and how big the project is going to be. But of course, the management is involved in some time.
So I'm going to bring you in here actually, because you've heard now a good overview of how RTLZWEI are capturing ideas.
This is the first time, by the way, I've actually heard from RTLZWEI myself. So it's been super interesting for me, because it's been my colleagues who've been involved with you guys. And I think there are a lot of takeaways for me as to how this has worked. And these are things that organizations do struggle with, but I think being of the types of people within your business and the creativity of your business, you've had that's something a lot of organizations strive to get embedded in themselves. So you already had a culture where people wanted and were always coming together and thinking of ideas, but it was a struggle to understand what those ideas were and to take those forward. We find quite often companies even struggle with that first piece, not just the technology, but with the culture of people wanting to create ideas. I also was listening to things like the fact you're actively encouraging the teams to come together once they've got an idea. Let's build not just one person, let's have 4 or 5 people collaborating on it. The fact that you've continuously reinforced the process. Quite often people forget about that. They do a great launch, and you chose a great challenge at Christmas time from the sounds of it as your launch, but then they forget to do more afterwards. So they get this big peak of people on board, and then they don't do anything new, and there's a decline because there's nothing new coming. So I love that, and the fact that you have to do that to get it embedded within the organization. So I mean, listening to this, there's lots of transferable lessons here that other organizations can take. And do you know what, actually the most interesting one for me was the fact you let everyone create challenges, and I absolutely love that. Culturally, that's not that common. So even organizations that are trying to be creative and embrace innovation, they quite often have this, more top-down practice whereby challenges are only, it's got to be a hierarchical thing. Senior level, you can set a challenge and have people solve it. But I love the fact that you're saying to people, if you've got something, a problem or a challenge that you think would help us, if it was solved, then raise it. It's fantastic. I love that. Lots to learn for other people there.
Yeah, I agree, and that was one of the reasons for asking that question, because I think it is unusual, and what it does suggest is that people are a little bit, perhaps a bit worried or fearful of opening up the entire system to other people, creating challenges, the big strategic pieces rather than the individual ideas. But you're absolutely right, Evan, because what you're doing is you're actually closing off opportunity rather than opening it up in some ways, because, you know, once you've decided what the important challenges are, that may not represent what other people think are important. So by having a completely open system, you create that opportunity for anyone to sort of take it in any direction. And that truly is a really properly open innovation process, right? So I think
there's a fear, isn't there? There's a fear in organizations that people are going to put silly things on the system. You know, they're going to set a challenge that's not good or not beneficial, or they'll add an idea that's not great. The reality is, whenever I've seen organizations do what you do, and as I say, it's not very often, but whenever I see it, no one does that, because no one wants to be visible to everybody in the business looking silly with a silly idea or a silly challenge. So the reality is, this is a self-policing solution, in that because it's totally visible, and the fact you've opened it up to everybody, you're going to get good things on there. So I really love that, and I would encourage organizations to adopt the same approach. I think what's interesting on that is, again, it's forward thinking from yourselves. You've been, as an industry, the disruption that goes on in the media sector and the speed of movement is so rapid that if you take 2 years to do something, it's too late anyway by that point in time. I think other sectors are a bit slower to realize that, but it's the same in many sectors. It's just they haven't come to the realization that you have, that it's better to, I don't call it fail fast, but learn fast. You know, try something out, learn from it, do something different. It's a positive thing to do.
In terms of the kind of the overall approach, so obviously it's difficult because everyone, as we said before, is working from home. Have you do you recommend to people when you're facilitating with them how to go about taking ideas to the next step? Because they don't know, right? You know, they may have got a great idea, just not sure how to sort of see it through to completion. Do you advise them on the next steps to take?
Yeah, I think, well, I am project manager, so that's mainly what I do all day to help people get the project going, and that's what we want to do. We want to facilitate to help them. What would be a good next step? What would be good to do next? How can you evaluate the idea? How can you find out if the idea is a good idea? So that's what we want to do, and of course, together with the challenge owners, because they are the people who know about the topic where the idea is. So yeah.
Okay, and in terms of the kind of obviously again, everyone's working remotely, but have you do you see those kind of meetings? Do you participate in them? I'm kind of interested in knowing what the kind of the sort of the stories that are coming out of these meetings and these development conversations that are happening. Do you get to hear that feedback as well?
Well, when we start with the group, when we have a group of people who have commented a lot, and we ask them, would you like to do a meeting? I often ask them, maybe I can I can look for a date and I can invite you. And then sometimes I am there just to listen and to give some advice, but we don't want to position us as like project leads or something. We want the group to be to do their own thing and to do what they want. We really want only to facilitate, but not to own. So it's important that we just are a bit low key with them.
Yeah, we have defined leads for certain challenges, right? So for example, we have this work and life challenge where you can post your work and life ideas for, I don't know, sports activities on premise or whatever, and we have defined an HR colleague as a lead, you know. So when people have ideas and they have questions, they can ask the lead. So we step a little aside, you know, and let all the other people take part in their roles.
Have you thought about where you'd like to take this now, or is it still very much in the sort of early stages for you?
What we really want to do in the future is one of the big events where we just present the ideas, the best ideas, the ideas that has been implemented and were successful, and to be transparent and to tell them what happened with those ideas, and to also motivate them. So we plan on doing this event anytime soon, I think, maybe in April or May. And well, right now I think we are more focusing on the tiny steps because we really recently just started with the whole thing, but in the future we really want to focus on big things as well. But right now it's more like these tiny steps, like the training sessions, the question and answer sessions, the events, and to just help the people to get to the platform and to work with the platform. So we are there and we ask the people, have you been to the tool before? Haven't you? Is it the first time? Then we have a look at the tool and walk them through, do a little demo, and well, answer those questions. And yeah, get feedback from the people. We got a lot of very positive feedback from them, and which is really nice. And we also ask them, what can we do better? What can we improve? Is there anything that is missing on the platform? And it's just a little discussion, but also to help them to upload their first idea and to take like the to make them feel like they can really upload an idea, and it doesn't matter if it's a big idea or a small idea or whatever idea. So just to help them to do the first step.
Yeah, I completely understand. So I'm quite keen in the last few minutes of the discussion to understand if you've got any kind of thoughts. Appreciate it's early days in terms of other organizations that might be thinking about starting their own innovation journey. What advice would you give to them?
Take your time. Think about what you wanna get out of it and how you want to approach it. I think for us, having those 2 years, having researched a lot, having tested a lot, we had a lot of experience when getting to the launch event, you know, and we had so many discussions about all those little details. For instance, like you discussed earlier, having everyone posting challenges or not, and having time to discuss things and to sleep over some things is a good idea, I guess, but not take too much time.
Yeah, and I also think that it is really important not only to focus on what happens until you launch the platform, but really what happens afterwards. So you really have to keep the platform going to help the people understand the platform. I think maybe that's even more important than the launch itself, because that is really what makes a difference in the long term.
Yeah, we have a checkup every week. We talk every week, us three, and develop new strategies to keep this thing going, to keep pushing, you know, and yeah, that's super important too. Yeah.
Having a project manager involved on this process is fab, because quite often organizations will forget that it's not just coming up with lovely ideas that's the end goal. It's how do we actually make those reality. I also like the way that you're empowering the people to do it as well. Providing the support rather than taking it over is another nice lesson learned. So for me, there's tons of takeaways from here. I think what's interesting, I mean, it's an organization of 200 or so people, and it's got a very advanced collaborative culture. I think maybe for organizations of larger scale, the lesson they maybe could learn from this is to break their organization down into smaller entities, because I think trying to have one central group do what you did with 5,000 people is going to be quite tough. But if you could break down those 5,000 people into smaller areas with mentors and people like yourselves to drive it, I think that's a great takeaway and very workable.
That was a discussion we had too, actually. Breaking down into smaller groups. We had a test group of 10, usually back in the beginning, and then we wanted to expand into 50 people maybe, but then we thought about it and we were like, no, it's fine to let all the people in, because we're not that big of a company, you know. But having 5,000 people, obviously that's a whole other thing. Yeah.
Just before we finish the call, I just want to let everyone know that we do these kind of events a lot of the time. We've also got a series of collaterals that you can go find if you want more information from us. First thing is our innovation preparedness assessment, which you can access via that link. That will allow you to see where you are on your own innovation journeys. And we're also producing a couple of little pocket guides, one which is about innovation for project managers and another which is about project management for innovators, just to help people understand, as Ivan discussed, the IPMO way of working, so that they're coming together, if you like, of the innovation project management offices, which is this team demonstrate is clearly already happening, because Pia's a project manager, but also working on an innovation team on innovation projects. I think that's a fantastic way forward. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone for joining the call today. Thanks so much for your contributions, really fascinating, and wish you a very good day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much
Thanks,
for having
everybody.
us, guys.